everyone, it's Stephanie here with a video for My Favorite Things. In today's video, I'm going to be creating two cards that were originally designed by design team member Torico, and I'm going to be featuring the new flop card circle and square dynamics. These are really fun new dies that were part of the June release, and they make your card super interactive and kind of fun. They give a fun look to a regular card to make it just a little bit more different and interactive. So I'm going to show you in this video how to create two cards using these dies and kind of show the different things that you can do with them. So I'm using the Sweet Forest Friends stamp set to decorate this card, and I've already went ahead and stamped and colored my images, and I've already cut and die cut all of the other pieces that we're going to use in the card design so that I can kind of just go through and show you the design of the card versus doing all of the coloring and everything on camera, mainly because this would be a very, very long video if we tried to fit it all in. So I have everything pre-cut and I'm just going to go through the assembly of each of the two cards. So for this one here, I went ahead and scored the card at 4 1/4 inches. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch standard size card, and it has a side fold, and I'm going to adhere this piece of pattern paper here that I've die cut directly onto the front. So I use Blueprints 13 to die cut this stitched rectangle out of the plaid paper, and I'm adhering it directly on the front of the card. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, because we are going to die cut through this and you're going to see in a minute, you definitely want to make sure you put adhesive all over the back so that the panel of pattern paper sticks fully to that cardstock piece. Now, this little diagram here is showing 2 1/8 and 2 1/8, kind of showing where you want to line that up. This is so this card will perfectly kind of flop. You'll see the little rectangle or the square piece when we're done here, how it kind of opens and closes. So I just used a T-square ruler and measured the same measurements, and I'm just going to put the die onto the card front and add a little piece of tape on the top and the bottom so that it stays in place and it doesn't kind of shift when I'm running it through my die cut machine. And you just want to make sure that before you die cut it, you open the card, because if you don't, you're going to die cut through the back of the card as well, and you don't want to do that. So I went ahead, die cut it through my die cut machine, and now I've removed that die, and you can see this little piece of a square that we've cut out. That's because this die only cuts the square part in the center, but the two line edges on the sides only do score lines, and that's so that you can fold your card backwards, as you can see I'm doing here, and score it, and that will make it so that you have this cool little flop square that kind of flops open and closed when you open and close your card. So you can see there I have this cool kind of fold at the front. It's like a half fold, and that square kind of opens and closes and moves when you open and close your card. So it's really super fun. So now that I have the card base assembled, I'm going to go ahead and create the scene on the inside. So I'm just creating it exactly like Torico's original card. I have all the images that she used, and like I said, I already have everything colored. And I'm just using some tape adhesive here to add the adhesive to the back of each of these and just assemble them onto my card piece. The rectangle piece in the back was originally just smooth white. I cut it with the rectangle die, and then I used my inks. I used Berrylicious for the sky, and I used In the Buff for the ground area to kind of have a beige color blend with the blue, so that just where the top of the grass area is kind of more of like a beige color, and it kind of makes it blend into the sky better. And then once I had all the inking done, I went ahead and started to add all these pieces on. So I stamped the Hello Friend sentiment directly onto that cloud there, and I'm adhering these clouds onto the card. And you'll notice when we finish the card that you'll still be able to see the sentiment even when we have the card closed. So it's kind of positioned in the top area there, so it's still visible whether the card flap is opened or closed. So now that I have all the little pieces on, the scene is created. I'm just adhering this onto the inside area of this card with tape adhesive, and I'm doing it flat. There's no dimension or anything on here at all. And I'm just positioning that right into the center area so that I can move on and decorate the back and the front of the square part on this little panel at the front. So for the back, that's where we're going to do the sentiment. So I have a white piece of cardstock die cut with the same square die that comes with the flop card square dynamics. And I just stamped the sentiment directly in the middle, which is Have a Delightful Day. That's from the same stamp set. And I'm adhering this with tape runner right to the back of this little square. And it's slightly smaller than the cut out square, so you're going to end up with this great little border of that Coral Crush cardstock underneath. And then for the front of the panel, I took all of the rest of the pieces that I had die cut and colored and assembled them onto a little square piece, the same one that I used on the back, and assembled that front piece for that card. And then now we're going to create a second card, and this one's going to be a little bit different. Rather than have it kind of flopping open like we did with the forest scene, which is a great look, this one's going to be an easel card. So if you're not sure what that is, just keep watching and you'll see at the end what we're going to do with this card when it's finished. So I went ahead like the previous card and I've die cut everything. I have everything colored and die cut and ready to go. And I'm just going to work on the assembly of the card. So I'm using the thin and thick striped paper pad, and I've cut this down with the same Blueprints 13 Dynamics. This is the perfect size rectangle to fit onto a regular standard size card base. And I adhered it right to the front area, and now I'm going to once again use that die, this time the circle, to die cut the front of the card. So I positioned it onto my card, and I've kind of put it over to the right of the card so that it's kind of off center. And I ran it through my die cut machine the same way as I did with the square one, making sure to open the card before running it through so I didn't cut the back. And now you can see here I have this circle die cut, and then I have score lines on either side of it. So you can see how easy it was there to kind of fold that over because the score lines are already there. So I kind of just closed it back up again, and I'm just going to stamp a sentiment here on the bottom area. And I'm going to finish the sentiment with this Grateful die cut. This is also part of the June release. And this is a stamp set and die that all coordinate together. And what I've done is I've die cut the word grateful from white cardstock 3 times. The third one there you can see has color on it. I just used Copic markers to kind of color an ombre look onto that die cut. You can use ink, you can use pencil crayons, markers, anything that you have, or you can leave it completely white if you prefer it without color. And I just layered them together to give it a little bit of dimension so it's not completely flat on the card front. And I'm going to adhere this directly over the 4U that we've already stamped there. And it's really easy to line up because you already have the lines on the pattern paper. So I just lined it up so it was straight across the card and adhered it directly on there. So now it's time to decorate the circle area with our floral images. So I have a bunch of leaves and flowers that I've stamped and white heat embossed and then colored. And I've die cut them with the coordinating dies, and I'm going to adhere them onto this circle area. These are from the new Funky Flower stamp set, which are also part of the June release, and they are awesome. I love them. They're beautiful. They have this great stitching detail, and they're just really fun and work so well together. So I really love these images. So I stamped them, I got them all ready, and now I'm just adhering them onto that circle area. You just want to be careful that you don't put any adhesive on the top area of the leaves because you don't want them to stick to the back of the card. You just want them to stick to the circle area. And I put the last flower on there with some foam adhesive just for a bit of dimension. And now we're going to go into the inside of the card. So I have 2 ovals that I've die cut. One is from the stitched oval on the white, and I stamped another sentiment on there. And then I have the blue one there cut out from the same color as the card base. And I just used a slightly larger oval to kind of give it a little bit of a matte. And I'm just adding the rest of the stamped images onto this little oval piece. I'm not using any foam adhesive on these. I'm just adhering them directly onto the oval because once I adhere this to the little panel here, I'm going to put foam adhesive on the back of the entire thing. And this is an important part of this type of card, this easel card, is you really want this piece that we're adding to the inside to be lifted off of the card base. It needs to have a little bit of dimension because not only can you open and close this card like normal, you can turn it into an easel card, which is what we're going to do here. So when you open the card, you can use those score lines to fold that piece up like I'm doing here and tuck it in behind that oval piece. And that's why the dimension is important because it's going to actually hold that piece in there. So you can see we have this cool little easel. It shows the front of the card with the great flowers and sentiment as well as the inside. So you have the full card and sentiment and it displays on your desk beautifully. So that's going to complete the card for today. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video and we will see you in the next one.